Hey, what's up? Jason Gaddis here. Welcome back. Last video, we talked about the three types of men in long-term relationships. Now we're going to talk about the three myths about men in the context of partnership, marriage, long-term relationship. All right? Okay, there's a lot of myths about men. There's a lot of myths about women. There's a lot of stereotypes about the genders. All right? And yes, this is a very binary conversation. I'm talking to heterosexual women here about heterosexual men. Okay? Three myths about men in relationship. All right, number one. We just don't care. Okay? We don't care. Wow, that's strong, isn't it? But I hear this a lot. Men just don't care. They just don't want to have a good long-term relationship. They just don't care about me. Well, it might look that way, but most men, unless they're completely shut down on the shutdown scale, which isn't most men, that's a very small percentage of men, most men care. Just look at what they're doing in their life. So maybe he doesn't care about you because he doesn't know how to show it, and he's not showing it, but he cares about football because he'll memorize every sports team and every player, and he knows all their stats. That guy cares. He just cares about football. He doesn't care about you. Okay, another guy cares about his bank account and all the numbers in the market and what's going up and down and how much he's saving and how much he's spending, and he's really meticulous and he wants to make a lot of money in his life. That guy cares. Would you not agree? He cares. He's just not demonstrating care toward you. Okay, so that might be true. He doesn't care about me. Well, again, my guess is he does, or he did, and he doesn't know how to show it, and he's gotten scared, he's gotten defended, he's gone into his patterns. All right? So men care. All right? So it's a myth to say men don't care. He cares. All right? Number two, men, we just want, what is it? Sex. We just want sex. Now, it's true that a lot of men want to have sex throughout their life. Yes, because our biology and the way we're wired is to procreate. We want to plant our seed and reproduce so that we keep our DNA alive. So that is deeply wired and embedded in our system. And there's no overriding that. Now, we live in a hyper sexualized culture that is also hyper repressed sexually. Think about what religion has done to sexuality. It's like it's bad, it's wrong, so let's shove it underground. Meanwhile, it's like coming out sideways everywhere, right? And most men are trained and indoctrinated into objectifying women. And yes, that's part of their biology also. But it's just like women in beer, women in sports, women in this, women in that. So, it's just we're constantly fed, usually by other men, that this is how we're supposed to behave, right? So yes, we want sex. But good men want heart-connected sex with a good woman. Men who just want sex are pretty disconnected from their heart, and they do want to use you to get off and to feel okay. Look at porn. Porn is a massive, massive problem for most people. It can be okay for some, but for most people, it's kind of a disaster. And it makes it look like we just want sex. But there's so much more we want if you get to know us, if you learn about us, if you care to come back, if you care to come back and investigate. And we have the ability or the willingness to actually talk about what we care about deep inside, our fears, our aspirations, our challenges, what we're proud of, what we're ashamed of. Obviously you want us to talk about that. And you should want us to talk about that. Like, again, the warrior type man in the last video, he will talk about that. He'll learn how, all right? Okay. And by the way, when a man gets married, he doesn't just want sex. He's got so much going on. He's so overwhelmed, a lot of married men, especially with a couple kids running around and bills to pay. Sex is just like a relief sometimes. It's actually not as nourishing as it could be. if a man and a woman would learn how to really nourish each other sexually. Okay, it can be incredibly nourishing and enlivening. But again, a lot of us get kind of boxed into this simplistic way of thinking, right? Okay, along these lines, these are all interrelated, of course. We can't do intimacy. Men can't do intimacy. They just want sex. They don't care. Wow. That's a lot as a dude to like receive. Now, I'm a living example of this is just not true for me. Now, it was true prior to me working on myself. I was pretty emotionally constipated. I had a lot of issues. I was drinking and using drugs a lot, and I was pretty checked out. And I didn't know how far removed I was from myself. So I kind of fit into these. And I couldn't do intimacy at that time in my life because I was scared. Right? You got to think, men are trained as little boys and very conditioned from a very early age to not do intimacy, not share their feelings, not be emotional. Or we get labeled really misogynistic, kind of homophobic sort of things like you're gay, you're weak, you're a pussy, you're a sissy. Over and over, and a little boy hears that and he's like, okay, I'll never show my feelings again. So I grow up into be a man that can't share my feelings. And feelings and emotions are a lubricant for emotional and sexual intimacy. So guys need to learn how to do intimacy if they want an awesome, strong partnership over time that's extremely fulfilling. Men who don't learn how to do that will have a series of short-lived relationships like I did, okay, prior to getting married. So we can do intimacy. Intimacy just needs to be a relearning and a learning about how to communicate what's going on inside, my fears and aspirations and dreams, my shame, my pride, all of that with another human being. That's intimacy. In the moment, getting that real in the moment. It's extremely intimate and beautiful. That's where a lot of magic happens in a partnership. So we can do intimacy, we just need to learn and remember, and we can do it, okay? So these are all myths about men. Now, if you want to take the next step and learn more about male-female dynamics or what to do with guys who are emotionally constipated like I was, just go to relationshipschool.com/get-his-heart-back, and I can guide you through a process, okay? All right, hopefully this has been helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.